"You're with the band?" I says, "Yeah." He said, "Okay, it's over there." And I says, "Okay, can I get through here?" "Yeah, okay." I close the door and I drive in there, and I'm thinking, this is odd. I get to that door. There's a guy outside. I say, "My name's Nick Morrone. I'm with the band. Can you get Jack Gowdy for me and tell him Nick Morrone's here?" And he said, "Hang on." Boom, 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 boom. The guy opens the door and walkie-talkie. Goes, "Nick Morrone, Jack Gowdy, the manager of Chicago. Tell him that Nick Morrone's here." Okay. Close the door. I'm waiting, and I'm thinking, this ain't going to work. Oh, I'm so excited. And I'm thinking, whatever. All of a sudden, the door goes, the guy goes, "Come on in." I go down this hall where this goes around the arena, and we go up these stairs, and there's Jack. "Hey, Nick, how you doing?" I says, "Jack, thank you so much. I'm working in town here. I'm just so excited you guys are here. I hope I didn't mess you up." He said, No, Terry, be glad to see you. They're coming. I got to go to work." So he ran up the stairs. By the stage, he had a flashlight, and the band's coming down, right? So the band's coming down. There's all the guys, and I'm thinking, wow, the crowd is cheering. It's like unbelievable. They come down, and there's Terry, and Terry sees me, and he goes, "Nick, man, what are you doing, man? I'm so glad you're here." I go, "Oh, thanks. And you guys sound great," and all this, and we're talking. It seemed like 20 minutes went, or 15 minutes went so quick, so quick. He lit a cigarette. He lit a cigarette for me, and I'm smoking a cigarette, and I don't even smoke, but I'm smoking, because I'm so excited. And then Jack goes, 5 minutes or 3 minutes or whatever, and I'm thinking, oh, shit. I said, "Well, I'm at a mall doing a show. I'm so glad that I got to see you, and the next year is the year that we're going to get together." He says, "Most definitely, and I'll be calling you." I know they were going to Japan or somewhere, and Terry liked Japan. And I'm thinking, Japan, wow, Europe, all these places. Wow, we're talking to each other, and this is so cool. "Thank you, Terry." And he said, "Thank you. Are you kidding me? This we're going to do." I said, "Band of two." He says, "Yeah, right." And so it's time to go up. And he says, "Okay," the guys start going up the stairs. And I go, "Hey, man, take care." And he goes, "Nick, what are you, nuts? Come on." I said, "What do you mean?" He says, "Come on, we got to go." I says, "Where am I going?" "With me, come on." So I walk up the stairs with Terry in front of me. And we walk in, and everybody's standing up, and the whole auditorium is just alive. And I kind of had this Leon Russell kind of look, real skinny, a big nose, and the long hair. But anyway, he put me around on the stage right next to him. There was an amp tilted. And he said, "Hank, this is Nick Morrone." And Hank says, "I remember meeting you." I says, "Hi, Hank." He says, "Hi, Nick." Terry says, "Fix that amp so he could sit on it and show him where the volume is so he could have the guitar coming from the back so he could hear the guitar." Boom, done. And I'm thinking, wow, I hope you don't mess something up. And what if it messes the sound up? I'm thinking, well, I'm going to worry about it. He says, "Sit right there." I says, "Oh, you sure?" He says, "Yeah." So he's doing all this control, and I'm thinking, this is unbelievable, The band's all revving up. Danny's chewing gum and doing Danny thing, and he's smiling, and it's so cool. Dan, hey, he's smiling. "Hey, Danny." And he's like, wow, this is amazing. Jimmy's there, and they're all there, and Peter's doing his thing. And next thing they start playing, and it's like, I cannot believe the sound. I'm in the middle of the band on stage. I'm sitting in without playing, Terry hits a chord, and it feeds back, and he takes a cigarette, puts it in his mouth, and lights it while he's feeding back, turns around, and hands it to me. And I said, "Terry, don't embarrass me, man." And he's playing, and he starts singing and playing, and I'm looking at him, and I'm going, this is the happiest day of my life musically. Right now, I am in the best seat in the house with the best band in the world and my buddy and Hank, and I'm listening to these guys, and I'm working at a mall, and I'm thinking, this is unbelievable. So the whole set just got more and more and more, and Danny's solo and the thing, everything was correct. Boom, they're all done. They got to go. "Hey, Nick, I'm going to get a hold of you. We'll be talking and all this." And I'll be darned if he didn't do that. There was no cell phones back then or nothing. So I leave. I go back to the place where I was staying, and I go to the mall the next day, and I work, and I'm just flying high, And then the next week, I'm at the house, and the phone rings, and it's Terry. "How you doing, Nick?" I go, "Hey, Terry," and we start talking about music, and the way that we do, and how it works, and I'm practicing. I says, but I got this thing, I love the guitar, but the drums thing, I like the beat, and I like doing that, but I just love guitar parts. He says, well, we're going to do, because I said, what are we going to do? Because I don't know how to do what you do. He says, well, I'm going to show you. That's how it works. You don't know how to do something, we hire someone to teach you how to do it. And if you've never been in the studio, you got to start somewhere. We started somewhere. You come in and I'll show you. And what we're going to do is we're going to turn the tape on and we're going to play. We're going to play till we can't play anymore. Then we're going to shut the tape off and we're going to listen to it back. And we're going to take bits and pieces of different things that we come up with. And then we're going to write songs around that. And of course he'd have more to do than I would, because he was the guy playing the guitar and he's the guy singing the songs and all that. So I'm thinking this is 1977. We're talking on the phone. 1978's coming up. I'm not going to tell anybody in my family what's going on. This is my secret. But I'm hearing from him that when it's time, sell everything and come out with the family. Come out alone first, and we'll get your family out there, and we're going to play together. And I said, this sounds unbelievable, going to Los Angeles, So we kept in touch, and to bring it up to the day of maybe a week or two before the accident, we're talking, and we're getting more and more excited, especially me. And actually he was too. So the day before I was supposed to come out, I'd come home late, and Melody was on the phone with him. And I got on the phone, and I said, Terry, how you doing? Okay, I'm doing great. He says, there's a few reasons I called. One is to let you know now this is going to happen now. We're going to do our thing. And I'm looking forward to it. And I said, me too. I said, I'm real nervous. I never really flew in a regular plane. I only flew in that plane you guys rented. And I feel, a little nervous about this. He said, don't worry about it. But meet me in baggage. When you get off the plane, go to baggage. I said, I'm not bringing baggage. I'm going to have a carry-on. He says, go to baggage anyway. And look outside for a black Porsche. It'll be me. So you look outside for a black Porsche. I'll be looking for you. I said, okay. Black Porsche baggage. He says, yes. Go to baggage. Go outside, and I'll be. The way it works there, if you don't get out quick enough, then I go around again. Okay, black Porsche. Okay, so then I go to sleep, and I can hardly sleep. I'm exhausted, but I'm excited. A few hours later, Melody says, Nick, Terry's on the phone. I said, what do you mean? It's daytime. She says, I don't know. He's on the phone. He wants to talk to you. And I said, oh, okay. So I'll be right down. I got out of bed. I went downstairs, because that's where the phone was, in our kitchen. And I got on the phone. Hello, Nick, Terry. I says, Terry, how you doing? I says, I'm coming now, right? Everything's cool. I'm coming. He says, no, of course you are. He says, but I said, what are you doing up? He says, well, we have a house guest. And the doorbell rang for some reason, delivery or whatever. And I heard it, and I woke up. I was kind of dreaming about all these different things that I want to be doing. And I was kind of restless anyway. And I woke up, and I think, now I'm going to go to town. And I said, no, don't go to town. I'm not here to tell you what to do, but you sound really tired. Don't go to town, because, Terry, why don't you just go to sleep? And I'll go to sleep, and then we'll talk a little later. He said, well, don't forget, baggage, black Porsche. I says, no, I know that one already. Okay. But don't go to town. He says, no, I think I want to go to town. Because he had his equipment in town where he can go play guitar and do whatever you want at another house there. And Donnie Johnson was there. And I thought, well, sounds like you want to go to town. He says, I do. I want to go to town. I says, all right, well, you sound tired, man, but I'm not going to stop you. You're going to go to town, and I'll see you at the baggage. Okay. So we hang up. I'm excited. I'm trying to go to sleep. I can't sleep now. The next morning, I'm thinking I'm going to call my brother, Jimmy, to tell him what I'm doing that day. I'm leaving. And I go, Melody, what's Jimmy's phone number? It's Cicero Packing. He owned a meat cutter place. Okay, she gives me the number. I call there, and the lady answers, Cicero Packing. And I go, hi, this is Nicky, Jimmy's brother. Can I talk to my brother? Sure. I said, unless you guys are busy. She goes, we're busy, but I think Jimmy wants to talk to you. And he says, okay, Jimmy, your brother. Hey, my brother Nicky. Oh, my God, I got to tell him. I got to tell him. I'm thinking, what's wrong with this guy? Hey, Nicky, how you doing? I says, oh, he says, I'm so sorry. I says, wait a minute, let me tell you what I'm doing. He says, what are you doing? He says, but I would have called you. I was going to call you next when we slow down. So sorry. I said, sorry. I said, don't be sorry. Let me tell you what I'm doing. I'm leaving today. I'm going to California. We've been planning this for 2 years. I'm going to go play with Terry Kath in California and do a solo album. And he said, well, that's why I was going to call you to tell you about Terry. I just heard it on the news. I said, you didn't hear on the news that I'm going to do a solo album. He says, no, I heard on the news that your friend Terry is dead. And I said, come on, Jimmy. What would you do that to me for? Now, that's just, why would you, Jimmy, that ain't right. And I hung up. And while I was hanging up, he says, Terry's dead. And I slammed the phone down. I got in the car with Melody. It was snowing out. And I said, let's go to the newspaper. I didn't say let's go to the newspaper. I was yelling. I was crying. I was feeling real bad. I mean, I was like unbelievable. We got in the car. We slid down the hill because we lived in a cobblestone hill. I said, where's the newspaper? Where's anything? I said, I can't stand this. I can't slow down. I can't go fast. I can't think. I said, my brother's messing with me. I said, this can't be true. What do? I go to the newspaper. I go to the Kalamazoo Gazette, and I slide in the front because there's snow in Kalamazoo everywhere. And we slide up to the curb, and I get out, and she jumps out, and I jump out. And there I am with my long hair and my hat and the whole deal. And I go in, and there's a lady behind a counter, and I'm trying to ask her if this could be true, that there's a death in a member of the group Chicago, but I can't talk. I'm talking too fast. I can't say it the way I want to say it because I'm a madman right now. And she didn't understand what I was saying, and then she just grabbed the newspaper, and we looked on the front cover, and there it said, the one that they said, Terry Kath, fatal accident, gunshot. And I looked at it, and I started crying so hard. And the first thing I said was, that poor guy. And I fell to the floor to my knees, and I put the paper down, and I just started crying like a baby. And then I got up, and before I got up, it was like somebody grabbed inside my chest and grabbed my heart and my soul and ripped it out and said, Nicky, you don't need this anymore, and just threw it away. I was empty, completely empty. And then I went home, and the phone started ringing, and it was friends of ours. There was a guy that we called Horseshit. His name was Mark Feaster. I bought that van from him. It was a coffee van, and he had the door like a school bus. It was cool. You can make coffee in there. Anyway, Mark Feaster was great. Horseshit. He gathered up some friends. I had a ticket for California, but he got a ticket for Melody with friends of ours. They pulled their money together, and now we had 2 tickets to go. But I'm not going to play with Terry. I'm going to the funeral. So now I'm going to California, and they're going to watch our kids. Mary Ellen and Jerome Liebenberg are watching our kids, and like I said, it was a lot of snow, and Melanie and I went to California, and we had a whole problem renting a car because we didn't do credit cards, or we didn't have any kind of card. They wouldn't do it for cash. They finally did it. We got to the funeral, and it was devastating, the whole thing. And I had cut my hair the day of the funeral. I cut my hair and made it real short. I'm thinking, I don't know if people look like this in California with the long hair. I better look presentable. It's my buddy. I got to shave and then cut my hair. So a lot of people didn't even recognize me. And we got there, and we walked right in. We had no problems getting in or anything. And there he was, and there's his songs singing, and there's Camellia and his parents and everybody, and I'm just devastated. And then when it's over, I had a macrame cross I put in the casket, and Camellia found it and said, I figured this was yours because Terry's being cremated, so you can have this back. And I said, thank you. Okay, I'll save it for prayers for Terry. And that was it. And then we followed the limos over to Robert Lamb's house, And we weren't on a list because nobody really knew I was there except a few people by then. And the next thing you know, I saw Jimmy, and Jimmy says, well, I got to check. Nick, you cut your hair. Yeah. And, you know, well, it says Robert's house. I got to check. And next thing you know, you check. Yeah, come on in. They let me and Melody in. And next thing, I'm crying, and we're talking, and they're going, you're not going anywhere. Camellia says, you're staying here. And Hank says, you're staying here. You're going to go to the Zuma house tonight. Bobby Rowan will take you up there to Terry's other house. And so I went up there and with Melody and spent the evening and heard the ocean for the first time. And we decided to try to figure out a way to go to Malibu and stay there and do some kind of work. So Melody went back home. I stayed with Camellia and Michelle. Michelle was the same age as my son, Nikki. And I also had a daughter named Lisa, and Lisa was around 12 back there in 78. Nick was the same age as Michelle. Armenia was their maid. So I'm staying at the house. Melody went back to Michigan. And one night, and I played with Michelle a lot. I loved to play, you know, with the kids and all that. Michelle wouldn't fall asleep one night. She was having a problem, and I said to Camellia, I says, you know, I want to take a walk. And I take her for a walk, and maybe she'll fall asleep. I want to go to the pier and walk back. And she said, okay. So I took her, and she's like on my shoulders, and she's kind of like fussing a little bit, like, you know, well, you know, I don't know if I want to even do this, you know, whatever, and fussing, you know. So halfway there, she's starting to go like that, and I'm thinking, it's getting closer to the sleepy thing. So I get to the pier, and there's a stoplight right there, and there's an empty lot right there, and then the big doors for the pier, the Malibu Pier, sports fishing pier, Alice's restaurant. So I have Michelle, and she's just starting to go like, going out. And I thought, I could tell she's sleeping now because she's heavy. She was so heavy when you just have all that weight. I'm thinking, oh, my God, I got to walk all the way back now? Oh, whatever. So I press the button, and the light goes red. A Corvette pulls up, going toward north on PCH, looking at the pier. And I'm looking at the Corvette, and I'm holding Michelle. And I go, Michelle, that's a nice Corvette. And I look inside, and there's Johnny Carson. And I could see his head, and I'm going, Johnny Carson? I just saw Johnny Carson. Michelle, that's Johnny Carson. She could care less. I'm going, there's Johnny Carson. And they go. And I go, I got to press the light again. Maybe I'll see another one. I press the light again. Everybody stops, looking at the pier. I'm looking at the parking lot, and I go, Michelle, I like that parking lot right there. That's where I got to do something in that parking lot because everybody's looking over there. So I said to Michelle that was sleeping, thank you for helping me. Now we can go home. And then we walked home, and we put her to bed, and I told her mom that I think I found the place I want to be. I'm going to go tomorrow morning and talk to the guy. And I told her where it was, and she says, there is no place there. I says, that's the place I want to create, that place there. So I decided that's where I want to be. I go there the next morning. I walk out to the end of the pier. I found out that Jeff Huber was the owner. His family business his family owns the pier. I said, I'm going back to Chicago, or actually Kalamazoo, Michigan. I'm coming back here. I'd like to rent that lot out there, and I'd like to have a 6-foot by 6-foot spot, and I'll give you $35 a day cash. And he said, you want to rent that parking lot out there, a 6-by-6 spot by Alice's restaurant, and you're going to give me $35 a day cash. I says, yeah, and I'm going to give you $35 right now, so you hold that when I come, and here's my lease that it's reserved for me. I'm going back to Kalamazoo. I'll be coming back. So I went back to Kalamazoo. We broke down so many times to get to California. When we pulled into Malibu by Lincoln through the tunnel, there's the ocean, and there's everything. You know, we're in our van. We have a U-Haul behind us, a little one. I got my drums in there. 2 cats, 2 kids, my wife, and me. Lisa Morrone, Nikki Morrone Jr., me, Nick Morrone, and my wife, Melody Morrone. Sarah, our cat, and what's the other one? What was the other one? I forgot. Okay, so we got the cats and the whole thing. I don't know where to go. We don't have any money. I says, how much money we got? She goes, $40. I says, $40, and the brakes are almost gone. I said, let's go to the pier. Let's park by across the street from the pier. We go to the pier, and there's the beach there, and the showers down there, and all that. And I'm hanging out in the van with my family at the pier across the street. And next thing I know, people are driving by that and kind of know us, And what our look is, beeping and all this, I'm thinking, hey, there's, Diane Satira, and, there's Camellia, hey. And it's like, they're looking at me like, what are you doing? And I'm going, I don't know. I'm living here, I guess, till I can get something going at that pier there. And Camellia stopped by and said, Nick, Terry had a house on Broad Beach, which is by Trancas, and he has 3 more months left on the lease. Would you please take it for the kids? It's just sitting there. And I said, no, Camellia, I got to do this myself. She says, well, for the kids when you do. And I said, well, let me just think about it. And so she left. A day or so went by. She came back and kind of flagged her down or whatever. And I says, she says, for the kids? I says, yeah, I'll take it. So we went to Broad Beach, followed her there. And it was, our neighbor was Carol O'Connor on one side. It was a little beach house that Terry had for getting away, that kind of thing. And so Ellie McGraw was there and all these different people. And I don't want to get into that whole thing, but I just want to let you know kind of how this whole thing started with Terry and our plan. So all these years later, I'm 65 now. I'm not retired. I have a company, drawstringsinmalibu.com. I started it with $40 worth of change at the pier. 35 years later, we're still doing it. Very happy. And I decided this year, because I'm always on the road, this year I'm going to try to find a studio that I could learn my craft again and do a tribute to my 2 best buddies in the music business, and that's Terry Kath and Hank Steiger, his guitar tech. So the band of 2 rides again. I got a hold of Chris Pennick. Chris Pennick got a hold of the bass player, Lynn Woolever. He's playing bass on it. It's a band of 2. It's just me and Chris doing our thing, and I produced it. And this is something that I want to answer questions through the music and through the band of 2 and through my insights of Terry and the way he played. And this is my tribute to the band of 2. And I hope you enjoy it.